Hey guys, Brady here with your daily tennis lesson. Dispelling a rumor today about the volley. I'm going to look at it on the forehand side. You know, a lot of us, I think, if we learned tennis, a few years back, were taught to freeze the racket on the volley. A lot of times, like, it was almost like this play. The coaches would say, all right, step, squeeze, and freeze. And the reason for that, for the abrupt stop on the volley when we were learning, back in the day, so to speak, was that I think a lot of coaches were trying to limit, all this extra movement that so many people are prone to when they volley. A lot of wrist action, a lot of this feeling like they want to hit a volley like an overhead, finishing across their body like a ground stroke. And so a really easy way, years ago was to just get people to freeze the racket on the volley. Not a lot could go wrong if the racket just stopped right when it made contact. But again, we're trying to play this current brand of tennis. We're trying to, play like the pros, so to speak. And so we've got to get rid of that freeze idea a little bit, because if you watch any pro on tour, barring a really short little drop angle where they might just stop their racket very abruptly, generally, when they're volleying through the court, the racket is going to make its way past contact. If contact's here, their racket is finishing, a good foot farther forward because they want to carry momentum through these volleys. Okay, so, we're not going to take this and run with it and say, hey, let's start finishing on the other side of our body or start getting the wrist going. But I want you guys to start, unlimiting your volley, so to speak. Instead of being almost too technical and too safe, I want to start to see the racket start to move through the tennis ball a little more and move through where contact is, so that we get a little more push on the ball, a little more depth, a little more drive, okay? So let's take a look real quick at kind of that old school style of volley where I'm just literally trying to keep the worst thing from happening. And you can see that's a hard volley for me now because it feels uncomfortable. It feels so restricted. One more time. Here's that kind of freeze volley. I feel like I'm bracing for impact. I'm not that comfortable. And here's what I want to start to see a little more with these volleys is this little more of a current look at it. Just feels so much more freed up if I'm not, totally putting on the brakes at impact. All right, so there was some value in that idea back in the day of stopping the racket, and that's for all you players who struggle with hand and racket control on the volleys. But once you guys have that ability, to feel the ball on the strings comfortably, start to let that racket move a little more through contact, okay? So that's all I got for you guys today. Please click like below this video, and if you happen to be watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. Thanks, and we'll see you guys soon.